conversation on race will likely sound very different than what we heard the Democrats say last week. The deaths of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Rayshard Brooks sent thousands into the streets.
You stupid.
Bruh.
To describe children of undocumented immigrants born in the U.S. Trump says the parents have the child, so they're not deported.
Are you aware that the term anchor baby, that's an offensive term? People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct, and yet everybody uses it?
Look it up in the dictionary.
So you know what? Give me a different term. Give me a different term. What else would you like to say?
The American-born child of an undocumented immigrant.
You want me to say that?
Stupid.
Okay, so, no, I'll use the word anchor baby. Excuse me.
Why do you have to use that
I'll
phrase?
use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby. No, he's an anchor baby.
Criminal aliens.
Scavengers. They're like scavengers. They're like scavengers. So many. Hello. No, I see a couple that I really like. There are some that I really like. I think the political press is among the most dishonest people that I've ever met. When I raise millions of dollars, have people say, like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze in my book. You're a sleaze because you know the facts, and you know the facts well.
The Black Lives Matter movement expanding and leading the charge while the debate over defunding the police also grew.
And the president has called that group a symbol of hate.
Why is the president calling Black Lives Matter a symbol of hate?
Well, what the president was noting is that that symbol, when you look at some of the things that have been chanted by Black Lives Matter, like
We're serious. I mean it when I say, give me a reason. Help me understand why the president would say that Black Lives Matter is a symbol of hate. Why?
You stupid.
Bruh.
Kill Whitey! Kill Whitey!
So what can be done? I don't know. Like the dude up front was saying, we gotta kill Whitey.
You stupid.
Bruh.
Black criminals! Who do we protect?
Black criminals!
Who do we protect?
Black criminals!
some of the things that have been chanted by Black Lives Matter, like pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. That's not an acceptable phrase to paint on our streets. Look, he agrees that all Black Lives Matter, but what he doesn't agree with is an organization that chants pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon about our police officers, our valiant heroes who are out on the street protecting us each and every day.
Pigs is what they're referring to, in a blanket, fry them like bacon.
The president has called that group a symbol of hate.
Yes, Ben.
Talking about the organization in his tweet, he says
Yes,
the words.
Ben.
He says the words.
Which,
Black Lives
what's
Matter.
the name of the organization again?
Black Lives Matter.
There you go. You just answered my question.
You stupid.
Bruh.
Came out when one of the so-called leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement was being interviewed on television. Remember how all of this was about police brutality, and it was all about historic racism, it was all about systemic white supremacy? No. By her own admission, it's all about getting Trump. It's all about, and in her own words, she says it is about getting him to resign. Not just to losing, but to actually resign.
Hands down, Trump not only needs to not be in office in November, but he should resign now. Trump needs to be out of office. He is not fit for office. But our goal is to get Trump out.
You stupid.
And Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Leading to racial fears by warning suburban voters with veiled threats of an invasion, while also saying he's done more for black people than any other president in modern history. Our Steve Osunsami has more now on how voters see all of this.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay. Donald Trump, go away.
This is a president who is regularly described as racist by black and brown Americans.
Every time you get on Twitter, every time you say anything, sir, you're saying it out of violence, out of hate.
Who you voting for?
Vote Trump.
You like Donald Trump?
Let me tell you, he is a pretty cool person. He is straightforward.
You ain't black.
And from what I'm seeing for the black community and minorities is that Trump is good for America, and you're demonizing him. You're demonizing him on something that you know is not true.
You ain't black.
This man has done more for the black people in 2 years than Obama and the Democrats did in 8+.
You ain't black.
I think the fact that I'm a black conservative causes a lot of problems for the left side because there's no way they can really resolve that according to their narrative of what they think Trump supporters are.
You ain't black.
But you do your research, use a little critical thinking, and all of a sudden you find yourself on the right side of history. Believe that. Yeah, baby.
You ain't black.
And I know this is kind of weird because of like my skin color and my background, but Trump has actually done quite a few good things for the country.
You ain't black.
And I have the greatest president on the planet.
You ain't black.
I stand for all his policies, both religiously and politically.
You ain't black.
He's already done so much for the country, and he's really doing a great job.
You ain't black.
Who are you voting for in 2020?
Trump 2020 all the way, man. Nobody else.
You ain't black.
So why do you like him?
Huh? Because he speaks his mind.
You ain't black.
Trump creates nothing but greatness.
You ain't black.
And in the streets, where the protests have helped reawaken many in this country to issues of racial injustice, they are not kind to President Trump. For many minorities who say they could never vote for the man, their grievances began on day one of his first campaign, just after he and his wife rode that escalator down into history.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
When I said Mexico is sending, I was talking about illegal immigration. The people understood it, even though the press didn't want them to. My numbers went up.
Sexual assault against women and girls is so common that many expect to be raped. Shelter directors and human rights protectors estimate that 80% of migrant women crossing Mexico are raped along the way. But the actual figures are impossible to know. Many women are ashamed to admit they've been brutalized.
They're rapists.
In one breath, he appears to defend neo-Nazis who fought with leftist groups in Virginia.
They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
They didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
In another breath, he says he doesn't have...
Are you going to allow the media to lie to you by falsely claiming that he said there were very fine white supremacists in Charlottesville? He didn't say that. It's a lie.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists. The neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
In his opinion, he's done more to help black Americans in particular than any other president in modern history. Opportunity zones for black businesses and an economy that for the most of his presidency was booming. Even some of his greatest black critics stood behind him when he signed into law criminal justice reforms.
And again, nobody has done more for black Americans than I have.
I understand.
It's got to be difficult to be a black Trump supporter in today's environment.
You stupid.
Bruh. And that's why I have such a, I don't want to say hate, but I have very unpleasant feelings when it comes to the media because I was duped by them. I was duped by their lies.
And so for me, I proudly walk around with my MAGA hat. I proudly tell people that I'm a Trump supporter. I proudly go on shows like this to show people that it's okay.
You ain't black.
What has Donald Trump done for black people? Are you serious? Donald Trump has done nothing for black people, let me be clear.
The record funding Trump gave HBCUs is priceless too. So are the record number of jobs he created for the black community and the investment he drove into our neighborhoods with tax incentives in opportunity zones. And so are the lives he restored by passing criminal justice reform, where 91% of the inmates released are black.
To many minorities in this country, the president is riding a new wave of fear among white Americans that took off with the election of this nation's first black president.
You stupid.
His policies show his heart. He has done more for black Americans in 4 years than Joe Biden has done in 50.
He has promised to make America great again. And many voters of color are asking, great again for whom? For this couple in St. Louis, who stood outside their home and pointed their guns at black protesters?
A Missouri prosecutor launching a probe into an armed couple who say they feared for their lives during a confrontation with protesters who broke into their gated community. Senator, these two protecting their own house, they broke down the gate, but yet now most people, most news organizations are vilifying them.
The same St. Louis prosecutor has had dozens and dozens of violent criminals referred to her by the St. Louis police, and she hasn't prosecuted any of them. She hasn't even charged any of them. She's turned them back out on the streets.
Says he's going to keep criminals from invading the suburbs.
I'm the only thing standing between the American dream and total anarchy, madness, and chaos.
Many Americans hear a racist dog whistle that's quiet but quite effective. It is absolutely 100% certain that racial fear will be at the polls this November. And as the president likes to say, on both sides.
The man has been working tirelessly, not only fighting the media, but making our country better, making America great again. And the media do everything in their power, everything, to make sure that the American people know that he's nothing but Hitler. And it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous narrative, and I'm sick of it.